MultiNash-PF, a particle filtering approach for computing multiple local generalized Nash equilibria in trajectory games. As the world is rapidly moving towards autonomy, autonomous agents will no longer work in isolation. Autonomous agents will increasingly interact with other autonomous agents and humans. However, there is hardly ever a single solution to such multi-agent coordination problems. Consider, for example, this very simple scenario when two agents are moving towards each other. The two agents have two possible ways to move in order to avoid collisions, which is either to yield to their right or to yield to their left. Computing both of these modes is necessary because if any of the agent was not aware of these two possible modes and they chose different modes, then it could result in a collision between them. Now let's formalize this problem as a multi-agent trajectory planning problem. Let both agents' states be denoted by xi's and let ui be their controls. Here fi represent their dynamics. Let both agents' cost functions be of the quadratic form as I have shown here. Here x hat of I is the reference trajectory for agent I, and the matrix Q represents the weight on the reference trajectory deviation, and matrix R represents the weightage on control cost. Let the constraint of the problem be denoted by G. Here G could be constraints like collision avoidance constraints, for example. It turns out that such multi-agent interactive planning problem can be formulated as a dynamic game. And under these cost structures, the constraint trajectory planning problem can be cast as a specific class of games called constrained potential dynamic games. The generalized Nash equilibria of the resulting game can be found by solving a single constraint optimal control problem for constrained potential dynamic games. Here, x is the joint state for both agents, x hat is the joint reference trajectory for both agents, u is the joint controls for both agents, r is the block diagonal of ri's, and q is the block diagonal of qi's. Our key idea is that multiple local minimizers of the potential function will correspond to multiple local Nash equilibria of the game, and these multiple local Nash equilibria of the game would stand for the multimodality in the multi-agent planning problem. So our aim is to find these multiple local Nash equilibria of the game by finding multiple local minimizers of the potential function. Our key idea is that we want to leverage the duality between control and estimation. And we want to use implicit particle filter to efficiently identify coarse estimates of multiple local minimizers of the potential function. We first convert the problem of optimizing the potential function into an equivalent problem of estimation. In this estimation problem, we introduce three extra variables, v, omega, and eta. Here v stands for deviation from reference trajectory, omega stands for control, and eta stands for constraint violation. Now we can solve this equivalent estimation problem via particle filtering. With this, now we represent the result of our methods. We first convert the problem of finding Nash equilibria into a single optimal control problem, which we solve using implicit particle filtering. Using a bunch of particles, we obtain various outputs that contain different modes of equilibrium inside them. Out of those equilibria, we recover multiple modes of interaction, which are the coarse estimates of Nash equilibria. Then we use these coarse estimates of Nash equilibria to warm start a high fidelity solver like IPOP to obtain final multiple local Nash equilibrias. Now let's consider a bit more complicated problem where there is a central obstacle. As before, we would expect that we will find two modes of interaction. But it turns out that when we apply implicit particle filtering, we recover 6 different modes. Apart from the two standard modes where both agents go on the different side of obstacles, it turns out that the agent could go on the same side of obstacles and then one agent would yield to the other, which results in 4 different modes. And we recover these 6 different local Nash equilibria, which represents 6 different modes of interactions. Now we pass this coarse multiple Nash equilibria through IP-opt and we obtain refined Nash equilibria, which will represent the multiple interaction modes. Now, we want to compare our multi-Nash particle filter against random initialization. And it turns out that multi-Nash-PF requires 3 times fewer IP-opt runs to recover all Nash equilibria than the baseline. Furthermore, it also reduces computation time by 50%. Now finally, we show that our method can be employed against a human subject in real time. As we can see, in this experiment, we randomly ask human either to yield to the right or left, and we let the robot figure out these multiple modes of equilibria and then autonomously adjust to humans. As we can see, the robot moved towards human, and as soon as the human chooses the right moving equilibria, the robot also yields to its own right and then avoids human. And similarly, when human randomly yields to left, the robot also successfully detects it and then goes to its right. With this, we have shown the real-time capabilities of our method as well. Therefore, in conclusion, we solved the problem of identifying multimodality in multi-agent systems, and our key idea is we can combine potential games and implicit particle filtering for efficiently identifying multiple local Nash equilibria in multi-agent interactions. In future, we want to explore ways to handle uncertainty in other agents' behaviors. Thank you.